Hey everybody, today is April 30 and today is the last day for the month of April for Bitcoin. So we're going to have a monthly close in a couple hours. So the question is this going to be a catalyst for us to continue higher, or is this thing going to roll over and perhaps continue lower? And before we answer this question, please read this disclaimer and you can pause this video as you read it. Okay, so in our previous videos, I talked about how the last couple weeks we've seen a bit of a pullback in Bitcoin, but on Monday we saw a nice bullish engulfing candle, right? This really strong 10% up day, and I talked about how this is sort of reminiscent of price action that we've seen earlier this year, right? In late January, we saw a bullish engulfing candle, and then we rolled over a little bit before continuing higher. And we also saw the same pattern here, right? Push up higher, rolled over a little bit before going up higher. And again, over here, push up higher, rolled over a little bit before going higher. And right now we're seeing similar price action, right? Up, rolling over a little bit, and now we're starting to see a breakout. And so the question is, are we going to continue higher, or are we going to roll over and continue lower, right? I talked about how this moving average, the short-term moving average, the 50-day simple moving average, which is this silver line, we've held this line, and it's been a really critical support level over the past few months, actually, since we've broken out since October. The price action has stayed above, or it's bounced when it hit this line, right, over here and over here. And most recently, on April 21st, we ended up not being able to hold this line. So it's kind of hard to see the line, but I'll just highlight it here. We weren't able to hold above, so we ended up falling pretty hard down to our second support level, or simple moving average, the midterm simple moving average, which is the 100-day simple moving average on the daily chart. And this ended up holding a support along with the Fibonacci support level here around 47,000, right? And just quickly, we talked about how these Fibonacci channels also act as support and resistance levels. For example, in late December, we had resistance when we hit the previous all-time high set in 2017 of just under 20,000. We came down and found support on the Fibonacci resistance support level. And again, we came and retested, and we eventually broke back up. When we broke through this next channel, we came back down to retest this support level, and we held. And then, of course, we had some resistance here, but we ended up coming back down and flipped it from resistance into support, and then ended up going higher. Now we're at this level where around 60 to 65,000, this is our next resistance level, which is coincidentally at this Fibonacci resistance level over here. So this is going to be our next major resistance level if we're able to break through our short-term 50-day simple moving average resistance level, which we're basically headed up towards right now, right? In the last couple of days, we've seen a nice bounce off here, but I also talked about how because we failed to hold this support level, now it's flipped into resistance, right? So this was once support, all the way up here is now resistance. So that's why coming up close to this 50-day simple moving average is going to be hard for Bitcoin to break through. In fact, on Wednesday, we had a nice pump after the stock market closed when Facebook announced their earnings, but there was rumors that Facebook was going to apparently buy Bitcoin, but that ended up not being true. So there was a quick dump over here. So that coincidentally was close to the 50-day simple moving average, which was strong resistance. So we saw a rejection over here, right on this, trying to break above. But right now, we're basically just about breaking above right now. Over the last couple of hours, actually, we've seen a nice pump over here. And so right now, Bitcoin is attempting to push above this 50-day simple moving average line. And I talked about how I want to see us continue higher and perhaps retest this level, because we're probably going to face resistance at this Fibonacci resistance level, like because we got rejected over here, right? And so usually when things get rejected, it'll have a hard time breaking through, but we want to see a nice clean break above, and hopefully we might come back down and retest this and flip this resistance into support by holding this level and pushing up higher, right? So that's what I'm looking for in the short to medium term, is Bitcoin breaking above this the silver line, this 50-day simple moving average, holding it, and then eventually breaking above our next major resistance level, which is this Fibonacci resistance level around $65,000, right? And so where do we go from there? If we ended up going and breaking above to 65,000 to new all-time highs, I think Bitcoin can go up to $80,000. And I talked about how in previous videos, when Bitcoin has moved up this entire past year to date, we've seen impulse moves around 20,000, right? So we were at 20,000 over here. We consolidated, pushed up to 40,000, consolidated, and now pushing up to 60,000, right? So around 60,000 right now, just below 60,000. So we've been consolidating for a while. And I talked about also in previous videos that when Bitcoin consolidates, it's actually a good thing because it's like a spring that's coiled up, and when it uncoils, it just explodes and the price goes up, right? And we can, just a quick reference, we can talk about how like sideways price action here, just coiling and exploding higher. And right now, over the last 2 months, we've had sideways price action, and that could just be a coiled spring that's about to explode even higher for the next impulse move, all right? And of course, $20,000 impulse move that I just talked about, the next logical point from 60,000 is definitely $80,000. So I think if we do break out from this consolidation period, I think $80,000 is the next resistance level. And then of course, $20,000 more is going to be $100,000, which is the big psychological number. And once we break $100,000, we're going to see FOMO like no one has ever seen before. It's going to be amazing. You're going to hear about on the news. Your friends and families are going to be, you're going to hear about them wanting to get in on Bitcoin. And that's when you want to start thinking about selling. But right now, I do think that this is probably a good time to, this is a nice pause in this incredible rally, right? This is probably when we look back at the end of the year, this will probably end up being a reaccumulation area. So I talked about in previous videos how I've bought below 50,000 over the weekend, and that's starting to look like a good decision. Now, of course, this thing could roll over. Anything can happen, right? This is Bitcoin. Anything can happen. So, but I think the probability of that is very low. And if that does end up happening, I'll definitely update you as the price action develops. But the fact that we've been able to hold this support level at the 100-day simple moving average and bounce strong off of it, following similar price action that we have in the past, right here, here, and over here, I am confident that the probability of Bitcoin going up higher and breaking to new all-time highs up to our next resistance level at 80,000 is a lot higher than us breaking below and continue down lower, right? And just a last word about this daily price action. When we see confluences of two different indicators, or in this case, the moving average and of course the Fibonacci support level, when they cross together, that tends up to act as strong support, right? And over here, we saw Bitcoin hold our Fibonacci support level and also bounce off this 100-day simple moving average. So two areas of confluence, which to me gives me strong conviction. And that's one of the reasons why I bought when Bitcoin went under 50,000 and it held up here and we ended up following through and pushing up higher, right? Again, just a reminder, this channel is entertainment. It's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't copy my trades or buy Bitcoin because I said I bought it, right? This is my own decision, my own risk tolerance. Your tolerance might be different. Your strategy might be different. So do your own due diligence, do your own research, and make your own decisions. Okay, so going on to the MACD. MACD, you're looking really good, right? I talked about in our previous video how I wanted to see this cross bullishly, positively, and right now it's just about to cross. And of course, the histograms are printing lighter red candles. So we're starting to see the momentum shift to the buy side, right? We want to see this thing push up higher. And because we saw in the last couple of months, we saw a bearish divergence in the trend of the oscillators with regard to price action, right? We saw the momentum, the buying momentum going down while the price of Bitcoin went up. And right now we want to see the MACD go up higher. I want to see our oscillators go up higher because we want to see buying momentum coming back in, right? Same thing with the RSI. RSI is getting back to neutral territory, but we want to see a nice clean break above this downtrend, right? We want to see this RSI go up and break our multi-month downtrend because, just to summarize again, when the price goes up, but the oscillators go down, right? The oscillators go down, as we see over here. That's a bearish divergence, and that means the buying momentum is starting to fade. So what we want to see with the price going up is strong volume. We want to see strong buying volume, right? Over here, this is our volume. The goal line is the trend. We want to see the trend go up. We want to see more buyers coming in and pushing the price up, and that's just going to give us more conviction that Bitcoin will continue higher throughout the rest of the year. And so let's look at the news. So today is Friday, and one of the reasons why people said that we might have seen so much volatility today, and especially in the last hour where we saw Bitcoin go up 6%, right, in the last couple of hours, is that options are expiring, and $4.2 billion worth of options expiring on Friday. So that could be causing a bit of volatility and just exciting times for you. It's just starting, I mean, just 4 years ago, could you imagine that we see like $4.2 billion in options, right? I mean, this is just amazing. The amount of money coming into the space is just incredible. And it just gives me more conviction that Bitcoin can not only hold 1 trillion market cap and beyond, but expand to even more, 10, maybe even 100 trillion one day. Who knows? anything is possible with the crypto space, especially with an asset class that's so young, right? And let's look at the fear and greed index. Fear and greed index at 51, right? Neutral. But this is actually a good thing because when Bitcoin starts to go up, the last thing you want to see is Bitcoin to be overbought, right? Like we were over here. The fact that we're in neutral gives us so much more room to run up higher, right? Because Bitcoin can go up a lot higher without necessarily affecting the fear and greed too much. If this thing goes up, we still have a lot of room to go up to like over 95 is when I would start being a little wary, maybe taking some profits. But usually having this much, being in neutral while the price is near all-time highs, it just gives me more confidence that we'll have more room to run up, right? Because we'll have more room for the fear index to go up without it signaling that we're overbought, right? Another thing to look at is price cycle top indicator. We talked about this in previous videos that we had a cross 2 weeks ago, but we also had a bullish cross recently, right? Over here, we had a cross. When orange is above the green line, that's bearish, right? But the fact that we crossed a couple days later with green above orange, and usually when green is above orange, that is a bullish sign, right? See how the green is above orange and the trend's going up? So last time we had a similar price action was back in 2013 where we had the green finally crossed above orange, and this ended up being a buy signal, and the price went up a lot higher, right, to December 2013. I think a similar thing could be happening right now, in that we had a bearish cross 2 weeks ago, but now that we have a bullish cross, green above orange, and the price is above the line, so it's not like, whereas when we had bearish cross or when we had bullish cross in the past, the price was below, and that signaled that the trend could continue lower into a bear market, right? The fact that the price is above the lines while they're crossing bullish, to me, gives me more confidence that this thing is going to go up a lot higher, right? And not necessarily signal that the trend is over, or the bull trend is over. And also, besides this, the fact that we've gone sideways for the last couple of months, it's given the other indicators more time to develop, right? Because if you look, back in February and March, the price action was getting close to the top. So this is the 2-year multiplier. And in the past, whenever the price of Bitcoin breaks above this orange line and becomes shaded, that's usually when things become very parabolic, right? And that's usually when you should start to think about selling. But the fact that we're still below this line, and the fact that Bitcoin went sideways, it's just given more room for the line to move up, which gives us a higher. It makes the ceiling a lot higher, because when we hit these levels, we basically pulled back. It was like a strong resistance level when we hit the orange line, right? But the fact that Bitcoin's going sideways and now the orange line is going up through time, right? We're consolidating through time, and now the ceiling for which Bitcoin can go up a lot higher before hitting this orange line, this resistance level, is around 82,000 right now, right? 82,000, and that's what I talked about. How the next impulse move could take us from 60,000 to 80,000. So another nice indicator telling us that Bitcoin has more room to run, especially to my price target of 80,000, right? Golden ratio multiplier. In the past, when the golden ratio multiplier hits when the price action hits the dotted line, that's usually time to sell, right? And we hit resistance last month, 2 months ago, around the purple line, and Bitcoin basically went sideways. And now we're just above this red line, but the dotted line right now is above 100,000. It's at 120,000. So Bitcoin, and that's just if Bitcoin suddenly goes straight up and hits this line, then it would peak at 120,000. But we know that Bitcoin probably won't go straight up. It's probably going to take a while to get up. So by the time Bitcoin gets up to and touches this dotted line, this dotted line could be a lot higher, right? Maybe even 200, maybe 300,000. Who knows? We'll update you as this goes along. The point is that we still have a lot of room to run, right? A lot of room to run, especially if you look at the historical peaks in 2013 and 2017. Bitcoin looks like it's still trending neutral, bullish. So got a lot of room. Pull-out multiplier. Right? And when we saw Bitcoin peak in the past, 2013 here, 2 times, and 2017, we saw this line move into the red shaded area, right? We've come down due to the correction last week, so we're still relatively in neutral territory. So a lot of room to run, right? I mean, this thing consolidating looks like it wants to break out. Same thing with Z-score, right? Last 2 times in 2013 and also in 2017, huge spikes above this red shaded area. We're still in neutral territory. We haven't even gotten into this red shaded area, let alone breaking above it. So still a lot of room to run. And of course, lastly, I'm gonna finish with the stock to flow model. If you look at the past, the stock to flow model tends to overshoot to the upside and then overshoot to the downside during the bear market, right? So this was 2013, we overshot and then we came down, overshot to the downside, but we tend to stabilize around the line, right? Same thing over here, 2017, we overshot to the upside, then in the bear market, we came down, overshot to the downside, and we stabilized around the brown line, which is around 10,000. And right now, that line is around 100,000. So if we look at the past, and history doesn't necessarily repeat, but it doesn't rhyme. That's that famous saying, right? If this thing comes up, we might overshoot to the upside, around 300 to 400,000 maybe. That's what it looks like on this chart if we're to follow the past two, right? And then in the next bear market, we can see this thing come down and perhaps overshoot to the downside to the 5-figure digit level. I don't know. This is too we're a little too early to really make this type of prediction. So I'll probably look more towards the stocks and flow model as the year develops and the price action develops. But if we just look at this chart, I think it's safe to assume that Bitcoin will probably peak somewhere above 200,000, right? Before the year ends. So yes. So overall, there's so many positive, and look, Bitcoin is breaking up above 57,000 now. So there's a lot of momentum pushing up higher and higher, right? So there's so many bullish signs saying that Bitcoin is going to continue higher. And this thing could have come down. It could have come down and ended this, but buyer stepped in and bought in. And so what we want to see now is a follow through and a push up higher. And yeah, I expect Bitcoin's next impulse move after we break out of this consolidation sideways price action up to 80,000. I think that will be our next resistance level. And of course, $100,000. We'll be there to celebrate when we finally break $100,000 by the end of this year. And just lastly, I want to remind you that the monthly candle is going to close in a couple of hours. And right now, it is red, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? If we look at the past Bitcoin, we've had 6 consecutive green candles in a row. The last time we had that many green candles in 2013, right here. 2013, right? And that peaked in April when we had a huge 50% correction during the summer of 2013, before the huge run-up, right? So the fact that we're seeing a bit of a correction right now, or a corrected month, a red month, and this is not even that bad, right? We came down pretty hard, but now buyers are stepping in. So this candle looks a lot more bullish than it did like a week ago when the body was like all the way down here. We had a long wick. This is very bullish. That means buyers are coming in, and the momentum is starting to shift more to the upside. Although it's been like that for the last couple of months, right? I talked about how this looks very parabolic. It is parabolic, right? 6 consecutive green monthly candles in a row, huge move, right? Since October, huge move. And so the fact that we have a red month, that's something I've said in March video that I wanted to either happen in April or May. So I actually do hope that this closes red, because if it does close red, it's going to give me more conviction that, okay, so there's a little bit more profit taking, and now the bulls can step in and control and push the price higher, right? And just lastly, just look at this candle, right? And I'll look at this clearer chart. Doesn't this candle look very similar to the January candle, like over here, right? Doesn't it look very similar? So anyways, I'll close with that, right? If we do end up following something like this thing can rip up a lot higher. And also, Bitcoin, people have their own predictions, but as somebody who's been trading Bitcoin since 2013, let me just tell you that Bitcoin could go a lot higher than people expect, right? So again, if we do see something like this play out, man, this could be a massive move, right? So anyways, the monthly candle will close in a couple hours, and we'll update you next week when it's officially May, and we'll see how the price action develops going forward. And I'm super excited to see where Bitcoin will be headed through the remainder of the year. I do expect Bitcoin to hit over 100,000 by the end of this year, and definitely going to be there to update you guys. And it's going to be an incredible journey, and we'll all celebrate together. So until then, I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Thank you for watching this video. Please like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe for updates if you found this video helpful, informative, useful. Thanks again, and I appreciate your support.